Yo, what is up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about Bellator 253, Caldwell versus McKee. Now, this fight card currently has 11 fights on it. The first fight of the night is between Sullivan Cauley and Mark Grover. It is a light heavyweight bout. Then we have Marcus Surin versus Ricardo Seixas, which is a lightweight bout. Then we have Jaleel Willis taking on Mark Leminger, which is a welterweight bout. Then we have Gaston Milanos versus Johnny Soto, which is a 140-pound bout. It is a catchweight bout. Then we have Baby Slice taking on Kahim Murray, which is a lightweight bout. And then we have Lance Gibson Jr. taking on Shane Crutchden, which is another lightweight bout. Then we have Jeremy Kennedy taking on Matt Bessetti, which is a featherweight bout. Then we got a bantamweight bout on the main card between Keith Lee and Rafael Stotts. Then we have Joey Davis and Bobby Lee taking it at welterweight. And then in the co-main event of the evening, we have Benson Henderson coming back, taking on Jason Jackson. And then in the main event of the evening, we have Durian Caldwell and AJ McKee Jr. It is a featherweight bout. It is sort of a Grand Prix because after this fight, they have one more fight, and then they go into the main event for the belt. Probably going to be against Patricio Pitbull, but we'll see. So the first fight of the night, as I said, between Sullivan Cauley and Mark Grover. Now, this fight, both of the guys are 0-0, so we haven't really seen much of what they have to offer at the pro level. But just based off of their age, come on. Mark Grover is 36, almost 37 years old. Sullivan Cauley is still in his 20s. And if you look at this man's amateur record, his wins have literally all come from knockout or decision. And Mark Grover, his wins as an amateur, mainly by submission or knockout, but he hasn't been fighting in 2 years and is finally coming back in Bellator for his first pro MMA bout. Sullivan Cauley is definitely going to win this fight. Probably by knockout, but I think this fight will go all the way. I think it's going to be an absolute domination from Sullivan Cauley, and I think he'll win the fight by unanimous decision. Now, the next fight on the night, we have Maurice Surin taking on Ricardo Seixas. This is a lightweight bout. Now, this fight, we have 6-2 Maurice Surin, and Ricardo Seixas, he's 9-2. Maurice Surin is actually coming off a loss about a year ago to Devin Powell by submission. Before that, he got two decision wins, or a decision and a submission win over Dean Hancock. Ricardo Seixas coming off a nice head kick KO win over Dominic Clark. Lost the two fights before that. Now, Marcus Surin, he is currently 39.5 years old. I know, 39.5. Ricardo Seixas is 30 years old, so they're both relatively old. Marcus Surin, I mean, he's 6 foot tall. Definitely has the advantage there. 4 inches taller in this fight, same reach. The thing that is gonna play a factor in this fight is definitely Ricardo Seixas' submission skills. Honestly, this guy has a very, very good striking, but I think his submission skills is going to be what really helps him win this fight. Do I think he'll get a submission in this fight? It's very, very likely. I think he'll try to get some takedowns in this fight and get the older fighter on his back and get a submission from there, and I'm pretty sure he can get one. So that's my prediction. I have Ricardo Seixas winning this fight by submission in the first or second round. Alright, so the next fight on this fight card is between Jaleel Willis and Mark Leminger. Now, Mark Leminger is actually coming off of his second loss to Yaroslav Amosov, absolute beast of an undefeated fighter, 25-0 Yaroslav Amosov. He lost that because he ended up getting cut about 2 months ago. But before that, he was on an absolutely amazing streak. I think he got some knockouts before that Yaroslav Amosov fight. He had a second-round TKO unanimous decision, second-round guillotine choke, and then another unanimous decision. And then his only other loss was to Jason Witt, who is about to have his second fight inside the UFC. So his losses have been against very, very good competition. But if you look at Jaleel Willis, 13-2. His only losses to Kyle Stewart in the LFA and Harvey Park also in the LFA. But after those two losses, he came back with a unanimous decision, and then got a main event at LFA 88, which he won by unanimous decision. He was actually supposed to fight Patricio Pitbull, but I'm not really sure what happened with that one. And now he is set to fight Mark Leminger. And to be honest, I do think Jaleel Willis will win this fight. He was supposed to fight Pitbull. I definitely think he would have lost that one. But now that he's fighting Mark Leminger, whose striking is just not at all near the striking of Jaleel Willis. Jaleel Willis should do what he always does and win the fight by unanimous decision. Alright, so the next fight is between Gaston Milanos and Johnny Soto, and this is a classic striker versus grappler bout. Gaston Milanos, he is 5-3. He is obviously the striker. Wins most of his fights by knockout. Johnny Soto is definitely the grappler at 3-1. Johnny Soto's only loss has come by knockout. Gaston Milanos has 2 losses that have gone by submission. One that's happened by decision. So both of these guys can definitely finish each other in this fight. I'm definitely expecting a finish. I don't expect this fight to go all the way at all. Do I think Johnny Soto can get Gaston Milanos on the ground, go for submission after submission, and do what guys like Jimmy Flick do in the UFC? Not really. I don't think he's that good at his grappling. I think Gaston Milanos has good enough movement to keep Johnny Soto off of him long enough for him to land that good shot. And I do think this fight will go to the second or third round, where I have a feeling Gaston Milanos will land a nice right hand that puts down Johnny Soto. And that's my prediction. I have Gaston Milanos winning this fight by TKO in the second or third round. Alright, so this next fight is between Baby Slice and Kahim Murray. Now, Baby Slice is 28, almost 29 years old, 5'11". Kahim Murray is 31 years old, 5'10". So pretty even on the age, pretty even on the height, pretty even on the reach as well. Baby Slice is 3-2. Kahim Murray 3-3. Now, his last loss, Baby Slice's last loss, was to Corey Browning by knockout from ground and pound. Before that, he got a submission by rear naked choke over Devin Brock, a submission by rear naked choke over Fred Freeman, and then a knockout over DJ Griffin. Now, Kahim Murray, on the other hand, he's also coming off of a loss to LJ Riboli by submission from rear naked choke. That's what Baby Slice loves to do. He came before that fight, got a knockout over Mike Diggs, lost the fight before that to Jake Zagorowski by unanimous decision. Won the fights before that by knockout. So Kahim Murray definitely has a lot of power. Baby Slice definitely has a lot of submission skills and a lot of power. I think Baby Slice is just way too well-rounded. He could definitely get a rear naked choke in this fight. He could definitely get a knockout in this fight. Kahim Murray can definitely get a knockout. But do I think Kahim Murray's submission skills or grappling is near the goodness of Baby Slice's? No, I do not. Baby Slice's submission skills are much, much better. I think the striking is a little bit even. Baby Slice might be a little bit better on the striking. But if you add the striking and the grappling together of Baby Slice will have no problem winning this fight by unanimous decision. Alright, so the next fight on this fight card is between Lance Gibson Jr. and Shane Crutchden. Lance is currently 3-0. Shane Crutchden is 12-5. Lance Gibson is 25 and a half years old. Shane Crutchden is 36 and a half years old, so a huge age difference there. And a huge height difference as well, as Shane Crutchden is currently 3 inches taller. He's much older, as I said. Gibson Jr. definitely has the power advantage in this fight. You look at the past couple of his fights, literally knockout, submission, okay, and then his amateur career submission, knockout. I mean, come on, Shane Crutchden, he's a very good fighter. He's just really old. His last couple of fights have ended in finishes. To Daniel Strauss, he lost that one by first round rear naked choke submission. Lost his fight before that to Aaron Pico by first round knockout. To be honest, Lance Gibson Jr., he's going to go out there and get a knockout. It's that simple. Shane Crutchden does not have a good chin, doesn't even have a good body. Lance Gibson Jr. is going to go out there and definitely look to land that good punch that can propel his career inside of Bellator. So I think Lance Gibson Jr. will win this fight by knockout in the first or second round. Alright, so this next fight is the last fight on the prelims between Jeremy Kennedy and Matt Bersetti. This is a featherweight bout. Now we have Jeremy Kennedy, who's 28 years old, 5'11" tall, and has a 71-inch reach. Matt Bersetti is 24-9, 35, almost 36 years old, 5'10", and has a 70.5-inch reach. So Jeremy Kennedy definitely has the age, height, and reach advantage in this fight. Alright, so, Jeremy Kennedy, his career so far has been very, very good. He started his career off with a unanimous decision, second round knockout, first round knockout, first round knockout, first round Peruvian necktie, second round rear naked choke submission, unanimous decision, unanimous decision. At that point, he was 8-0, and the UFC was like, wow, we need to bring this guy inside the UFC, so they brought him into the UFC. And he just got 3 unanimous decision wins in a row over Alex Ricci, Ronnie Jason, and Kyle Bochniak. He beat 3 guys inside the UFC in a row. But in his next fight, ended up fighting Alexander Volkanovski. Guys, do you guys know Alexander Volkanovski, the current featherweight champion? but ended up losing to him by second round TKO. And the UFC was like, all right, he lost to a current champion, whatever, and they cut him from the promotion, which is super weird. So once he left the UFC, he got a first round knockout, and then joined the PFL, where he ended up losing that fight there to Luis Rafael Oriento by first round head kick KO. Came back after that with a unanimous decision and a second round TKO, and then ended up fighting Daniel Pereira, who he actually beat by first round guillotine choke, but that fight got ruled a no contest for some reason, and now seeks to join Bellator and beat Matt Bassetti in the main event on the prelims. Now, Matt Bassetti, he is a lot different of a fighter. I mean, he is a huge veteran fighter. He's been fighting since 2007. Pretty up and down career so far. Now, back in 2013, that's actually when he ended up joining Bellator after he was 11-4. Joined Bellator, got a first-round knockout, split decision win, and then fought Daniel Weichel, who he ended up losing to by unanimous decision, and then lost to Scott Cleave by unanimous decision. Came back with a second-round TKO, then lost a first-round knockout to Lenny Wheeler, got a first-round heel hook, got a first-round triangle, got a second-round TKO, got a first-round guillotine, got a second-round heel hook, got a third-round knockout over Kevin Kroom, who is in the UFC right now, got a second-round TKO over Ray Trujillo, got on the Dana White's Contender Series, and then fought Kurt Hoblaw, who he ended up beating by first-round knockout, got inside the UFC, lost his fight there by unanimous decision to Enrique Barzola, and then got on the Ultimate Fighter 27 finale, where he lost a very close split decision win to Steven Peterson, left the UFC and got a unanimous decision and a third-round knockout. Now, both of these fighters have definitely fought pretty good competition in their career. Matt Bassetti, he is definitely a lot older. I think he's way past his prime. Jeremy Kennedy is just getting into his prime. And not to mention, Jeremy Kennedy, his striking is off the hook. He can knock you out at any point in this fight. He doesn't really have that one-shot knockout power. He likes to he likes to knock you down and then get a TKO off of you. But I don't really think he's going to get a TKO in this one. I think this fight will go all the way. And I have Jeremy Kennedy winning this fight by unanimous decision. Alright, now the next fight, the first fight on the main card between Keith Lee and Rafael Stotts. Now this fight, it has me very excited. Keith Lee, 7-3, 24 years old. Rafael Stotts, 14-1, 31, almost 32 years old. So Rafael Stotts is in his prime right now. Keith Lee, 7-3, 24 years old, as I said. He's right before he's gonna get into his prime. He's 5'9" inches tall, has a very small reach, has 70.5 inches. Rafael Stotts is a little bit smaller at 5'7" inches tall, and has a longer reach at 72.5 inches. To be honest, some people think Keith Lee is going to go out there and get a unanimous decision in this one. They think the youth is going to go in there and take Rafael Stotts. But come on, guys. Look at Rafael Stotts. This guy's only loss ever as a pro MMA fighter was to Merab Dvalishvili, a top 15 UFC fighter. Come on. After that loss, got a first round rear naked, third round TKO, unanimous decision, third round rear naked. This dude is an absolute beast. Rafael Stotts will win this fight by unanimous decision. Alright, the next fight after that one is between Joey Davis, undefeated at 7-0. He's fighting Bobby Lee. This is a welterweight fight. Joey Davis, as I said, 7-0. He is a 26-year-old fighter. You look at all those wins. He got a first-round hammer fist knockout, first-round flying knee, first-round left jab to an overhand right knockout, unanimous decision, first-round spinning back kick, first-round TKO, unanimous decision. This dude is an absolute beast. Bobby Lee, on the other hand, 24 years old, 12-4, very good record. He ended up joining the RFA for his first ever pro MMA fight. Got a third round Kimura, first round arm triangle choke submission, unanimous decision, first round TKO, first round armbar, first round Kimura. Lost a decision win to Jeff Peterson. Came back with 2 decision wins over Ashkan Maravi and Nick Ammerman. Lost a second round guillotine to Kilis Mota. Came back with a second round flying knee. Lost a fight to Demarcus Jackson by first round guillotine. Came back with a second round rear naked. Lost his next fight to Mehan Mendoka by unanimous decision. And then most recently came back with a first round arm triangle choke and a unanimous decision. Now, both of these fighters are definitely very, very good. But I'm definitely going to be giving the huge edge to Joey Davis. I mean, he is an all-out wrestler. He's going to go out there in this fight, make sure this fight goes to the ground. I mean, all 7 of his wins have been inside of Bellator. In this fight, I think he's going to take the fight to the ground, go for submissions, and win this fight. Probably by knockout, but I think this fight will go all the way, and he will win this fight by unanimous decision. Alright guys, now we are at the co-main event of the evening. We have Benson Henderson taking on Jason Jackson. Benson Henderson, 37 years old, 5'9" tall, 71-inch reach. Jason Jackson, 30 years old, 6'1" tall, has a 77.5-inch reach. Definite age advantage, reach advantage, height advantage, all for Jason Jackson. You look at this guy's record, he's 12-4. His only losses have been on Dana White's Contender Series to Kyle Stewart, to Ed Ruth by split decision, and then 2 losses earlier in his career to Colby Covington by unanimous decision and Hader Hassan by 3rd round knockout. I mean, this guy has faced very, very good competition in his career. He's coming off of 2 unanimous decisions, and is now on a co-main event against Benson Henderson. Now, Benson Henderson, my guy. I mean, if you look at this guy's most recent fights, 2nd round guillotine choke submission over Roger Huerta, unanimous decision over Said Awad, split decision win over Adam Piccolotti, and a unanimous decision win over Miles Jury. But yeah, as you guys probably know, he ended up fighting Michael Chandler in a main event at Bellator 243. Lost that fight by 1st round knockout, and he looks to come back with a nice win over Jason Jackson here, and I really think he'll do that. I think this fight will go all the way. Both fighters are definitely good. Benson Henderson is going to definitely be using his power and his experience to win this fight. Jason Jackson's just going to be using his height and reach advantage to win this fight, but Benson Henderson, he's way too much for Jason Jackson to handle in this fight. I have Benson Henderson winning this fight by unanimous decision. Alright guys, that leads us to the main event of the evening. These guys' reach and heights are pretty much the exact same, 5'10", and then 74 inches for their reach. They both are featherweights. The age is going to be a little bit of a factor. Durian Caldwell, 32, almost 33 years old. So it looks like he's a little bit past his prime, but he's still definitely inside of his prime, just a little bit. AJ McKee Jr., he's 25.5 years old, so he's about to enter his prime, which is kind of hard for me to say. As AJ McKee Jr., I mean, he's 16-0. How can he just be entering his prime? That's absolutely insane. I mean, if you look at all of his wins, he joined Bellator in his first ever pro MMA bout back in 2015. Every single one of this man's fights have been inside of Bellator. This is a Bellator fighter. His first fight, he won by 1st round rear naked, got a 1st round knockout, 1st round knockout, 1st round TKO, 2nd round guillotine, unanimous decision, 1st round head kick KO, unanimous decision, 3rd round rear naked, unanimous decision, 1st round knockout, 1st round anaconda, unanimous decision, 1st round left hook over Georgi Karakanyan, and a 3rd round triangle choke over Derek Campos. I mean, this man definitely deserves this main event against Durian Caldwell. Durian Caldwell, 14-3. This guy's a very good fighter as well. Most of his fights have been inside of Bellator as well. His first 3 fights were the only fights outside of Bellator. They were inside of Legacy FC. He got a unanimous decision, 1st round knockout, and a unanimous decision. And that's when he decided to join Bellator, where he got a 1st round guillotine, unanimous decision, and then 2 rear naked choke submissions in a row. But then he ended up fighting Joe Taimango, where he ended up losing that fight by 3rd round guillotine choke submission in 9 seconds of the 3rd round. Came back after that loss to Joe Taimango and ended up rematching Joe Taimango, and he ended up beating him that time by unanimous decision. And then just kept on winning with another unanimous decision, a 1st round guillotine, and a 2nd round TKO over Noed Lahat. But then he ended up fighting Kyoji Horichi twice and lost both of those fights by 3rd round guillotine and unanimous decision. And then after that came back with a unanimous decision win over Henry Corrales and a 1st round rear naked choke submission over previously undefeated absolute beast in Adam Borix. Now this fight should be absolutely insane. I expect AJ McKee Jr. To go out there and really try to get a knockout in this fight. Do I think either fighter is going to get a knockout in this fight? I don't really think that's going to happen. I think this fight will go all the way. But AJ McKee Jr., I mean, his striking is way, way better than Durian Caldwell. He's much more precise. He lands much more efficiently than Durian Caldwell. And that's my prediction. I have AJ McKee Jr. absolutely dominating this fight on the feet and winning the fight by unanimous decision. Alright guys, thank you guys for watching this video. If you like this video, make sure to hit that like button and make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss the absolute best content out there. Make sure to comment what videos I should do in the future. But that's it. I'm out of here.